Hey guys, this is Anthony P, your coach and contributor from the DFS Army and your lead handicapper at Beat the Bookie service, which is a DFS Army product. In this video, so before I go on, I'm probably at my 27th take. I fucked up at least a good 26 times, so I hope that this time I get it right. And if I did get it right, it means that you're listening to it this afternoon. So the NHL playoffs are around the corner. We're about less than 6 hours to puck drop. This is the best time of the year for sports. I don't care about baseball. I don't care about football. I don't care about anything else than the NHL playoffs. There is nothing that compares to the NHL playoffs. Do I love other sports? Of course I do. Do I DFS on other sports? Of course I do. Do we wager on other sports? Of course I do. But there is nothing that fucking compares to the NHL playoffs. So we're going to be taking a quick look at the Beat the Bookie DFS and betting model. And we'll take a quick glance on MLB also. We are going to take a quick look also at our FanDuel Stack Finder, um, and maybe help you guys identify some stacks and how I go by finding these stacks and building, and then how do I go and find my fillers or my value guys, and more or less just share with you guys a little bit how I think about building GPP lineups. And we'll also talk about different types of GPP lineups. So for those that know me from our VIP channel, they know I'm a cash player, so I really focus a lot on cash games. So I'm huge on head-to-heads and double ups and 50-50s, but I like to play GPPs also. The GPPs that I like to play are low entry GPPs, so not a lot of people in there. All of them are single, and then I like to play also the bigger GPPs, higher entries, but still single entry. Both of those approach consists of building your lineup differently. So if I'm playing the low entry GPPs, so the $12, the 33, the 50, the $100, in between 100 to 60 to 100 players, that's going to consist of me using one type of approach to build a lineup. And if I'm playing in the $1, $5 bigger GPPs, a thousand over, um, people in the GPPs, I go nuts on a contrarian approach, and I use a total different strategy to build those lineups. So let's take a quick look into our Beat the Bookie DFS and betting model for the NHL. We've got the model that projects a money line. We've got Vegas, and both of these are compared, and we get expected value on the money line, what's being projected versus Vegas, and we really focus on positive expected value. So this evening there are two plays, San Jose and there is the Islanders. The Islanders are one of my personal picks this evening with almost 7% of a positive expected value. So this means that the model has the Islanders projected to win at a higher implied winning percentage than Vegas has. So that opens up some value. I like the Islanders at home this evening. I think they're going to get it done and win the first game of the series. On a DFS perspective, am I going to use any of these players in both these games? In this game, no, I won't. But there is value behind the Islanders, so why not, target the goalie? Well, it's very simple. I don't see this being a very high scoring game. I don't see a lot of upside in the Islanders offense, and I usually love to correlate my goalies with my stacks. So I'm not going to go with whoever they're going to roster this evening in nets. If I've got absolutely no interest in any of their stacks. On the over under, we see it's pretty tight. There's not a big difference. Nashville and Dallas, we've got them projected at 4.63, so it's much higher than what Vegas has them at 5. However, I do have some interest in Nashville, and we'll get into it when we are reviewing the stacks. So this gives you a pretty great picture of what the model projects versus Vegas, and we've got a ranking here of the team totals versus Vegas, what we're projecting here. So this could also give you an edge in finding maybe a team that is that the model projects really highly, but that Vegas has not as high as the model. Same concept applies for MLB. MLB, we're happy it's back. We've had a great year last year. I personally hit close to about 55.7, 50, almost 56% winning rate. And I focus a lot on positive expected value. So when this model is initially ran really early in the morning, my picks are immediately sent to our VIP members, and the strategy is really around making sure that we always get positive expected value from our picks, because on the long run, the more games you pick where you have an edge in terms of expected value, your profitability is going to increase a lot faster than taking teams where you are overpaying a favorite versus what their projection should really be, which in this case is our model. For the first almost 2 weeks of baseball, the model was capable of beating the Vegas lines of approximately 80%. So what the model was projecting from opening to when Vegas closed their lines before game time, the model was capable of beating those numbers. So if you would have been on those lines really early in the morning, you would have gotten the best possible lines to wagers on 80% of the time, which is awesome. Let's take a quick look at our stack finder. So this is something that I really look at a lot, specifically during the playoffs, because during the season, I really focus a lot on cash games. But I want value, right? So I play cash. You hear a lot about me talking about value. You hear a lot about talking about floors and ceilings, mostly floors, but I want value. Every single time I'm going to stack, I want to have a stack that's got value. Sometimes I'm going to stack a team like New Jersey. People are going to think I'm crazy, and I'm going to say, well, look at the value, right? And that value is actually projected by the projections. So I want value. Looking at this page, the first thing I'm going to do is focus on the first and second line, just because I'm starting to build my stacks for my single entries of 12, 33, 50, 100. Not a lot of entries in there. We've got one single entry about I think it's about 35 to 60 participants max, and I want value. When we're looking at comparing first line and second line in terms of values, we clearly see that there's a lot more value on the second lines based on this evening's slate. And our number one value is with Tampa Bay 2. Our number two value is with Nashville 2, which that makes it really interesting. And our third best value is with Columbus 2, which becomes even more interesting. These are stacks that I have tremendous interest in them. And in the first lines, my biggest interest would be San Jose 1, and I'll get there in a minute. Do I go and look at the defensive pairings? No, I don't, and I'll get into that. Do I go and look at third liners and fourth lines? No, I don't, specifically not in the playoffs. Why? They play a lot less, number one. Number two, if I find value in the first two lines, it doesn't really push me to go in 3 and 4. And if I would go 3 and 4 is if I'm playing MMEs, 150 lineups. But my focus is primarily going to be in line 1 and line 2s. The defensive pair, why don't I look at them? Because I'm going to try and want to correlate as much as possible my 4-man stack with a D-man. So I'm not really, it's going to be one-offs. I'm not going to look at here. And if ever I need to find a defenseman with potentially a high ceiling, I'm going to use the skaters tab. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to sort this. So in my 12, sorry, in my 12, 33, 50, 100 single entries, I'm going to want to focus on the best available value. And it's presented in Tampa Bay 2. Easy to figure that out. Giving us 2.21x based on our projections. And if I add Edmund in there to correlate with Tampa Bay 2, I get pretty excited about this. So I want to make sure that I've got a piece of the big chalk this evening. Tampa Bay 2 is going to be very chalky. I'm expecting 35%. And when we add Edmund, that correlates all of Tampa Bay 2 on PP1, and we've got Edmund that also has exposure on Tampa Bay 1. For me, it is one of the top stacks this evening. But now I need to find a stack that's going to be a lot less owned, a very contrarian stack who's got some good value, and we could find that in Nashville 2, which we're getting 2.2x. They're very cheap. They're going to see a lot of ice time also. Turris is a playoff guy, and he's got some better wingers this year to play next to him, and I could see some great upside coming from that line. As my goalie, I'm going to correlate Rene because I can't fit Vaseline like some of our VIPs call him, because I already have 4 Tampa Bays. And if I need to find that second defenseman to complete my stack, I've got about 4,000 left to play with. And I'm going to go see if I could fit someone in here. And if I can't, I need to start all over again. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the skaters tab. I'm going to sort by defense. I'm going to go into salaries. I'm going to go into number filters. I'm going to go, I got 4,000 left, so I'm going to go is less than 4,100. Sort this, go completely to the right, and go into our FanDuel consistency rating. And I want to start looking at who's got potential to give me a high floor. All right, so what do we got here? 25 plus, 35, potentially capable of giving us 30 plus points. We've got 2 defensemen here. We've got Schmitty. We've got Dunn. So 30 plus points, 5% of their last 20 games. The ceiling is there, and that's what I'm looking for. I don't give a shit about floor when I'm playing GPPs. 5%, 25, and then when we're looking like, oh, look at this guy, Savard. He looks to be a lot more consistent and maybe a little bit more safe. I might not get the same ceiling as a Dunn, but I like the fact that Savard is most probably going to be a lot less owned than Dunn or potentially Schmidt in this case here. So this is an exercise I wanted to show you guys really quickly. As my second stack, I'm going to go really quickly over this. I like San Jose 1 and Jones. Why? Because everybody's been trashing them for the past couple of weeks, specifically in the last couple of days. So I'm expecting them to be very low owned. Jones specifically carrying really low ownership. So people don't like them. So in really large GPPs, I'm going to want to target San Jose 1, which I feel is not going to carry a lot of ownership. And I'm going to want to go get some Columbus 2. With Duchesne, who's back in the playoffs, was really excited. Anderson, who's been having a second half of the season, that's amazing. And when I'm putting both of these stacks together, I think I'm going to be really different than the field and the large single entries. And both of these teams have some great upside. Fleury is a great playoff goalie. He is just gold in the playoffs. So again, low ownership for San Jose 1. I can't fit Burns, unfortunately. Low ownership with Columbus 2, playing against Tampa Bay. And that's what I'm looking for if I'm playing in a large tournament. If I'm playing in the really small ones, I'm going to want to focus on some big chalks. So we got Tampa Bay 1 correlated with Edmund, and then we've got Nashville 2, who's got some great upside against Dallas, which is, I believe, going to be owned less than about 8 to 12% in those small single entries. Hope you guys had a great time watching this video. I hope this helped. You guys find me in the VIP channels. If you've got any questions, just tag me in one of the channels. If you want more information on Beat the Bookie service, please let me know. Sign up to one of our affiliates and you can get a month of free DFS and a month of free Beat the Bookie service. Good luck tonight, guys.